Good morning, loyal fans. Okay, I don't have a topic. So, what is a good topic for me this morning? I have been interchanging ideas with Fire Logic primarily, with in Russia, and that has been going interesting. I've been trying to grok his project and find a common position between our projects, which is what I think the major project of synthesis is. So for instance, we are, me, him, and a third party, and hopefully soon more, have been working on a I'm using the term the Interhuman Project. But I think the important thing is that whatever we call it, and even if we all three use slightly different versions of it, the important thing is that the core, the central core, is the same. In Russia is promoting 4 primary principles as his vetting tool, or his most important set of principles. And this is interesting because it appears to me, I don't know his 4 terms well enough to say this for certain yet. I'll have to kind of sketch it out several times before I'm there. But it's beginning to appear to me as if his 4 primary terms all share what I consider to be, well, they're not my primary 3 terms, but they share almost all of my primary terms. So I don't think there's a 4 relation, a 4 to his 4, but there does certainly seem to be a relationship. So for instance, let me think. He has, what are his 4 principles? I knew that I wouldn't be able to do this. Okay, I'm not going to try then. I'll get to know his system better, his 4 terms. I'll do my best to memorize them and understand them completely, and then I will see if I can align them into my system. Something like that. All right. What else is there to connect? Well, just that the core. I said the core has to be the same. And the core is primarily that we should humbly synthesize our commonalities. This means all humanity. Getting humanity to do that is going to be tricky. And I think it will require stories, video games, and other mechanisms of play which use the core values. What just happened to my car? Okay, that was weird. Just popped out of... And it's shaking a lot. Not good. I haven't had a problem with this car yet. Looks like I might be starting to have one. It's not overheating. There's no engine light on. Okay. All right. So I might just need to air up my tire. Okay, the core. What is the core? So I said humbly synthesize commonality. So commonality, I've spoken of many times, but I'll speak of it again, is the triangulation between people's personal spheres. So a common sphere is that which lies between a group of people to make them common. But to find out what they have in common, it is that which they all can agree on, and only that. And then the idea is that group can then grow and grow and grow, and other synthesizing groups can synthesize together to find their commonality. And But I guess what I need to add to that equation of humbly synthesizing commonality is something to the degree of finding compromise. And the reason you do this is because it builds relationships, it builds community, therefore, and because it gets rid of divisions. That is the nature of come on, brain. We think of it as a bad thing, right? When people compromise, we think that's what the term is. We act as if compromising is a bad thing because we don't want to betray our deeply held personal beliefs. But the point is the commons is not your personal held beliefs. The commons is the commons. And the government is the system of commons, right? Now, I don't necessarily agree that our representative democracy is the best way to formulate commons. I very much decided it is not. And so part of my core tenets, for me at least, is that as we build a commons, we figure out how to turn that commons into a contract between ourselves, between whichever groups have discovered that commons, and then you begin doing something similar to a blockchain contract system that says, we will behave this way towards each other, we will give each other these benefits, we will build community basically based off of these commons, like actual relationships, and then you can overlap these things in certain numeric groups that are below the Dunbar number, so that you have groups constantly overlapping. So this member knows these 5 groups, and that member knows those 5 groups, but they're connected. And then through that kind of a mathematical process, and I have no idea what the best mathematical process will be. I don't know if the overlap needs to be 20 people, 40 people, 50 people, whatever, but obviously it has to be a little below 200 and enough to distribute among other groups. So probably something like 20 is probably a good idea. And then you will be in the process of connecting and forging these connections and continuing to build the commons and building a method or something like a relational law that can replace our Republican democracy eventually, if it's done right. It can in fact replace businesses can work towards the purchasing of all major businesses and making them co-ops. Why would you do that? You do that so that you have fair wages for all. Everyone can, instead of there being this siphoning action where the owners of the business get all the wealth, well, the owners of the business will continue to get all the wealth, but they will be everyone. Is that communistic? Well, maybe tiny bit, but it's through the commons. It's through a mechanism of the commons so that every voice is heard. Now, what if you're not very common? Well, maybe it's time to, do some compromise, because there's no reason to be on the outside, because you don't have to sacrifice your personal beliefs to be a part of the commons. You just have to agree with the commons. You have to be like, yeah, okay, I guess I shouldn't call people racist names. Okay, fine. I won't call you racist names so I can be a part of the club. Can I please be a part of the club now? It's not a big deal, really. If something does begin to be a big deal, obviously the whole system will collapse and we'll have to figure out a better way of doing it. But, our system is on the verge of collapsing, in my opinion. This election, I'm scared about. I'm honestly scared about. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to, no matter who wins, whether Biden wins or Trump wins, are we going to burst forth into riots? If Trump wins, I'm seriously scared we might, and I'm seriously scared he might, because Biden is no contender. He's only a contender if you hate Trump. And there's a lot of people like Trump because they don't like the Democrats, because the Democrats have aligned themselves with these really, really fringe radicals and will not denounce them. And that's a huge problem. How would commonality deal with that? Well, the French people would not be in the commons. Simple. Okay. And you can have layers of commons, so that there is a layer at which the French people are in. They're just not as common, right? And therefore they don't have as many benefits. Okay, I gotta get to work. Thank you very much.